All right, hello everybody. So this is a research paper on this research paper called "How Does an Anonymous Online Peer Communication Affect Prehension Behavior? Evidence from a Laboratory Study." So there were actually three studies, but this one focuses on the one from Harvard by Sarin Indriani. So the main goal of the research paper was trying to see how social media had an impact on people's health and how it would mess with the relationships that they were that they had. So what they found were that it does have an effect, as well as three theories that connected social media to how they were affected, being a technological determinism, social prehension theory, and a theory of use and gratification. So there were three results from the three tests. But there were three major results that were found from this test was increase of social alienation, information overload, and the changes in the person or in the character of the person. So to start off with social alienation. Social alienation was, like it increases the isolation between people. But what that mean, or what they found was most of the time they would spend time in their virtual life rather than going out there and going out with friends and putting energy into staying with friends. Instead, they would just sit around on their phone and just focus on that. This led to weakening of social ties. This led to less interaction and therefore say social alienization. How this plays a part is just people have lost the ability, not lost the ability, people have lost, the original ways of just hanging out with friends, going face to face and just hanging out with one another, enjoying each other's company. But now, if you were to hang out with friends or family, most of the time you're going to see your friends or family on their phones rather than, focusing on enjoying the time that they had with you. The next thing that they found was information overload. So, what information overload is that it just, there's so much information that is in our phones now that it could tend to be too much, and it can cause you to just break down sometimes. So what they were trying to find is they were trying to find a way how to handle that and make sense of the more information that they have, or that we now have. However, this led to a new finding of technological addiction, where people would spend more time with their smartphones rather than interacting with the people around you. So, like I said before, with social alienization, people are so invested on what's happening or like around, not even around them anymore. It's just what's happening around the world, like with celebrities, sports teams, you know, just they're so focused on what's happening online that sometimes they take for granted the time that they have with people, with friends and family. And lastly, what they found changes in how people acted. So what they found was social media actually made us more impatient and anxious. They found that people these days they'll focus more on what's happening on their phone rather than what's happening in the real world. Like, let's say you message somebody and they don't message back, or you have to go to sleep, but you're always worried that something will happen without you, even though you can just find out what's happening the next day. This led to people just getting traumas out of restlessness because they couldn't access social media for a few hours. Like I said, this leads to the inability to interact with each other, which leads to less face-to-face interaction. This weakens the relationships that we have with people because nowadays we're so focused on having our fake selves on social media, so that when we hang out with people in real life, it's hard to really put the time and energy to hang out with people more than, just typing to them, saying whatever you want, having a face, so to say. So this leads to the conclusion what we are losing our ability to interact for very, very large amount of times. We're putting more energy into online communication or social media rather than, putting time to actually go out of our way to hang out and go out of our way to put the phone down when we're hanging out with friends or family to actually interact with them, like asking questions, actually being interested rather than just going on a phone, updating social media and whatnot. I understand that social media is a very, very big focus in our lives, but it shouldn't, like, it is, but we need to go back to the times where, our an interpersonal we need to have that interpersonal relationship with other people again, where we get that strong, deep connection with somebody or somebody, family members and stuff. We need to get back into that because the problem with not having that is it limits the importance that we have on somebody's relationship. It really just it makes it harder for us to connect once with somebody once again. But until then, we need to realize that we need to see the effects that social media has on ourselves and to those around us. We need to learn to just put down the phone and just take the time and then actually interact with somebody that we care for, somebody with us.